Member-supported radio from the University of Pennsylvania.
Let her go.
Welcome to First Impression. I'm Michaela Majun, your host, and for the next hour, our expert panel of musicians this time around will evaluate new music from a North Philly R&B singer, a group from New Orleans named Cowboy Mouth, can't even say it, and a bunch of wrestlers singing about what comes out of a cowboy's mouth, and more, including the new drumming team of Charlie Watts and Jim Keltner. On our panel this time around, we managed to snag Ween from their current tour for their latest album, White Pepper, and they were just on the World Cafe as featured artists. Welcome, Dean and Jean Ween.
Hey.
But we get to call you Aaron Freeman and Mickey Melchiondo this time around. You're from New Hope, and you've been making music together since 8th grade. White Pepper is your 7th album, is that correct?
I'm not sure. I think it's 7 or 8, something like 8, actually. 8th album.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we know you know a lot about music and have a very nicely irreverent attitude toward it, too. So I think you're ideal panelists on First Impression. You also told me you were DJs in college for a while.
Well, actually, we didn't. We never went to college, but we did DJ at Trenton State College.
Yeah, we were both 16
in
at the
Jersey.
time. Yeah.
How did
I think
you
we were
manage
younger
that?
than that even.
Yeah.
Persistence, I think, just hanging out at the radio station so much, waiting for someone to not show up, and eventually we got our licenses and just started as subbing and then had regular slots. So.
Great. Well, here you are back at this station. How does our station compare with that one?
It's great.
This is much more professional.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about critiquing other musicians' work, which you'll be doing for the next hour?
Well, we do that a lot, actually. Just hope we don't get in too much trouble.
Yeah, I've
tonight.
tried to. I've definitely tried to tone it down a little bit. When you're being critical of something anyway, because it's a really small world and
it may come back to haunt
Yeah,
you.
well, it does. That's what I've learned. You talk about someone and then you run into them on a festival or something, and then you got to put up or shut up.
Well, they probably won't be
you have
listening
to beat them
now.
up or hide. Yeah.
We hope that you can have a no-holds-barred approach this hour. We're going to play you a song, and then you can rate it from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. We'll average your scores, and then the song with the highest score at the end of the hour is our platinum winner on First Impression. In case of a tie, you'll have to figure out a way to agree, but I'm sure that will be not that difficult for musical brothers such as yourselves. Ween on First Impression, and here we go. Ween are with us on First Impression and proving that they're not afraid to critique other people's music. Mickey and Aaron each gave this a 2 on the low end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds to me like a corporate angst song. Sounds like this guy's been, holed up in the Johnson & Johnson cube for too long and, it's going to work and he's really upset about it.
Not a message
I couldn't understand what he was saying half the time.
Yeah, well, I didn't really think that there was any song at the core of it all. It was really, big production, but it was just 3 chords, round and round and round. At first, I thought actually it was kind of bold in its whiteness. And then I realized it just had no soul at all.
Yeah.
When the chorus kicked in, so
Give
two.
what a try. I don't give it a,
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't like it.
Does this kind of big anthemic sound with a message, whatever that message might be, seem dated to you? Is that part of the problem with it?
No, I think it was just, it doesn't matter what the production sounds like as long as there's a good song in there somewhere. But there was nothing happening.
Yeah, it sounded like something that would be on the radio while you're drinking your coffee and,
while you change the radio.
Spilling it all over yourself, like going to work at,
Yet you didn't
Merc.
flunk it totally. It must have had some merit, or you would have given it a 1.
Well, 1, there's a fine line between 1 and 5. 1 is going to be something really special.
It sounded good, They executed in the studio what they were trying to go for well, I think.
By the way, this band is called Cowboy Mouth. They're from New Orleans, and they're all veterans of a bunch of other bands in the 80s and early 90s, and this is their new song, Easy.
Okay.
But I guess it was too easy in your estimation. Aaron Freeman and Mickey Melchiondo of Ween are here on the panel this time around on First Impression, and let's move on. This is First Impression. The song is called The Way from a new album called Who is Jill Scott? And the men who are Ween, Mickey and Aaron, have given this, well, Mickey a 3 and Aaron a 4 for a total of 3.5 points. You like this better than the first song?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I thought the jam was great. The singing was a little bit stiff, but you know, and the chorus was all right. But yeah, I like it. It was a great jam. It sounded really good too.
Yeah,
I
that's
appreciated the lack of samples and
that's what I liked about
drum
it too.
beats on it. It was kind of au naturel.
Kind of a fresh sound. Aaron, what were you going to say?
Yeah, same
you said
thing.
something about a 4 for effort.
Yeah. I think that the production was really nice, and the way it sounded was really nice, and they recorded it well, and there was a couple good hooks in there that I liked a lot. I thought, you know, at the point where she reached 2 scrambled eggs, and grits, I thought that she was pushing it a little bit with the description. You know,
Too
what I mean?
much detail.
A little too much. Didn't need to know that much about her morning. But I thought, yeah, I'm giving her a 4 for effort.
So you don't think music like this has too many lyrical cliches? You just think that it's delving into too much detail?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't need to know that much.
This is Philadelphia R&B singer Jill Scott, who's from North Philly. And, of course, this music has some roots in the Philly sound. Do you think this is
Definitely
carrying on the tradition in a good way?
Yeah.
It did have the gamble and huff kind of thing going,
Yeah.
especially with the strings. I thought the jam was great. I'd like to know actually who produced it.
Yeah,
where it was
whoever
done
did it
and all.
pulled it off well.
Yeah.
It sounded really nice.
I'd like to hear her sing it at like 7 o'clock in the morning after getting out of bed, though.
Right?
And really making it
Yeah,
real.
no. I think
Yeah.
it would be better.
So this is a woman who's from this music scene as you are. How has it changed over the years that you've been making music? I mean, certainly you've broken out of being local artists, but you're still tied to the scene here, and you are in town a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think of the first Philly band, still my favorite Philly band ever is the Stickmen. Remember them? One of the craziest bands, but I think for both of us actually, we grew up with the Philly punk rock scene, the FOD and the Dead Milkmen especially, the Electric Love Muffin and
Yeah.
all these great Philly punk bands. Used to go to hardcore shows here at Pie Lamb, I guess it's called.
Do you think that was the
Campus.
best era of music here? I mean, it seems like there's a lot going on right now.
Well,
no, we just kind of lost touch with really like the local music scene everywhere. You know, like
You
know,
kind
we
of
live
went
in New
inward.
Hope.
Plus,
Yeah,
it's hard to
yeah.
say what the best era was because we were just little kids when the Sigma sound,
Right.
Harold Melvin and all that stuff was going on.
My aunt lived downstairs from the guy from the Hooters. That's what she always said. She lived, my whole family is from Philadelphia, and that's what she.
And any dish about that?
No, he's a really nice man. Nice man.
Great.
He's from the Hooters.
And
okay.
the guys from Ween are here on First Impression this time around, and listen to this. Wow, First Impression. And what Jill Scott didn't tell us about her morning ritual in the previous song is that this is the music for her morning workout. Anyway, Mickey gave this a 2 and Aaron a 5. A big difference of
I'm
opinion.
feeling good tonight.
For a total of 3.5 points. Aaron?
All right. Well, that's just like as far as I see it, that's just a guy screwing around with his sampler and some percussion. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think he did both of those things well. So I'm just going to give him a 5. I mean, I don't consider it a song or anything. You know what I mean? So it sounds like he pushed the right buttons and played his percussion well. So why not give him a 5, you know?
And Mickey, you beg to disagree.
Yeah, I think it was, as far as like an instrumental percussion based song goes, it was just totally linear. I kept waiting for it to kick in.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was some dude with a drum machine or what was going on there.
Yeah.
It's actually 2 dudes that you know of. Charlie Watts, drummer for the Rolling
right.
Stones, and Jim Keltner, who's another awesome rock drummer.
Right.
And this is a new project that they put together to pay tribute to various jazz drummers. So each of the tracks on the album has the name of a jazz drummer. This is in tribute to Shelly Manne. I don't know if you're familiar with his
Totally.
work. Band leader, also worked with some of the greats of jazz like Stan Kenton and Woody Herman in the 40s and 50s. So this is their conceptual tribute, and it features Charlie Watts on drums, Jim Keltner on sequence sounds and percussion.
Right.
So that was the guy who was messing around with those sounds.
Yeah,
that you heard.
I'm not saying that I was like impressed by it, and I agree with Mickey that it should have been kicked in or anything, but for what it was, whatever it was, they did it okay.
Do you think, who was going to listen to this? Do you think it would
I don't
appeal
know.
to
I was
people
trying to
outside of
imagine
drummers?
myself actually when I was listening to it sometimes a song like that benefits from the sheer volume and alcohol or something. Standing in a club when it's
Neither
3
one
in the
of
morning,
which
and I didn't
is
really,
present.
it didn't move me like that.
Right.
So
Did you know that jazz was Charlie Watts' first love? He actually
Yeah.
toured with a big
Yeah.
band in the 80s and put together a jazz quintet. So it's not a surprise that he would come up with a project like this.
well, I love the Stones and Charlie Watts and Jim Keltner, but they can't get by on that alone. So I stand by my 2.
I think this is the greatest work they've ever done. This is unbelievable.
Can we goad you into a fight here?
Oh my God.
I give it a 1. Take back my 2.
I give it a 9.5.
Boy, you guys have been working together for so long. Do you have big disagreements about the music that you make?
Not really.
No, we don't.
Really?
We don't.
How
I'm
is
giving
that
it a 5 on
possible?
kind of a sarcastic level, actually. Well,
Well, I guess there's room for sarcasm on first impression. On the panel this time, there's room for Ween, who are currently on tour for their new album, White Pepper, and we managed to snag them into the studio. Mickey Melchiondo and Aaron Freeman are here and giving their take on new music and on our classic album, which we are now unwrapping. And this time around, it's Jimi Hendrix's second album from 1967, Axis Bold as Love, the follow-up to his stellar debut. Are You Experienced produced more hits, but the lyrics on Axis Bold as Love are perhaps more sophisticated, and Hendrix's fusing of R&B, soul, and jazz rhythms more extensive. This album finds an artist who had just been catapulted into international stardom, solidifying his identity as guitar innovator and creator of original music. Here's one of the most personal songs he wrote in his short time blazing through the music world. Little wing from our classic Jimi Hendrix Experience, Axis Bold as Love. Ween on the panel. What makes it a classic?
I'd give that a 1. That guy, he couldn't play guitar at all.
Charlie Watts.
Oh no, that's yeah. This whole record, I don't know. For me, I think that all the best music, when you listen to it, it'll give you some visuals also in your mind. You know, that's how you know something is truly a classic. You know.
What do you see when you hear this?
This whole record is just filled with. There's a lot of references lyrically to color in most of the songs on the record, and Underwater definitely. That's a common thread in the 3 Hendrix records. You know, a lot of it lyrically too. He'll sing about the ocean and water, but it's just really effective like that. He really knew how to use the studio as a tool, and separate it from the live experience, but. That's always been my favorite thing about Jimi Hendrix, other than the guitar playing.
And you're people who know how to use the studio as a tool as well. What's involved in that?
I think you really have to look at the lyrics and the emotion or whatever it is that you're trying to get across. And when you're selecting sounds or whatever, everything has to be with that end point in mind.
Yeah, you have to get the whole song envisioned in your head, and then just use the sounds, use the studio as a vehicle to get you there.
And one of the songs that does that and is kind of on the jazzier side of things is Up From the Sky. And that's Up From the Sky from Axis Bold as Love, our classic album on first impression. And do you have any particular memories or associations? I know that you weren't around when the album came out originally, but I know that you've obviously spent a lot of time with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was probably Are You Experienced, the first record. I played hockey when I was a kid, and one of the older kids in the older leagues had a radio with I think it was the song Are You Experienced on. And it scared me to death when I heard it. I never heard anything so evil in my whole life. And I found out what it was and then just kind of took it from there. But yeah, I have so many memories. That's a good
detail.
Yeah, me just
using the bad thing in the bedroom listening to these records.
Yeah. It's a good.
Don't go into detail.
Alter and
Lifting. It's supposed to be an up discussion.
For me, it's a memory of just should I say altering a little bit and just visiting and listen there and music introvert and listen to this feels God at close to at ease and should I say close to God, you know what I mean, just feel completely in touch. You know,
Songs like that way. The same thing that way. It makes you feel that way. Is this point? The Great Castles Made of Sand from Jimi Hendrix Experience and Axis Bold as Love, our classic album on First Impression, Ween on our panel. Who has this album influenced? I guess it's influenced you in your music because you've loved it and studied it and listened to it a lot. How has it influenced you?
Well, you know, yeah, it influenced us, I think, in the way that you realize, you know, who an incredible. Seems like this guy isn't even from the planet. And it's pretty amazing to hear a musician who's not from the planet.
Is that something you?
So that's kind of an influence.
Is that something you
know
aspire
what I mean,
to
man?
yourselves?
It's really something else, man. Jimmy, I love Jimmy. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah, I'm not hearing myself. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's only a few people like that, I think, where the music is, you can't separate it from the person or something. Maybe Jimi Hendrix and John Coltrane, or, you know, Ravi Shankar, maybe. Just like the masters. There's only probably 4 or 5 of them ever. Jimi Hendrix is definitely, I think any guitarist will tell you, you know, ask them who the best guitarist is.
Yeah.
And has definitely had an influence on their playing.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, Tuck Andrus, who's a fine guitarist, and Patty Tuck and Patty
Tuck
do a
and
nice
Patty.
version of Castles Made of Sand.
Yeah,
we
that
just
is a nice
heard.
version.
So
Yeah.
obviously they've been influenced, but a lot of guitarists who've come since.
Yeah.
Yeah, he certainly has. I mean, I'm not as influenced musically as Mickey is, but certainly love him to death.
And that's our classic album, Axis Bold as Love from the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and Ween on our panel, Mickey Melchiondo and Aaron Freeman. And so far, here's how the voting has gone on the new music. Charlie Watts and Jim Keltner, that drumming thing, is tied at 3.5 points with the R&B singer from Philadelphia, Jill Scott, and The Way, detailing her morning ritual. And in last place, Cowboy Mouth and the song called Easy. And we're going to move on and listen to this. First impression with Ween on our panel. When this song started, Aaron Freeman said, "Yeah, baby," and ended up giving this only a 1, the lowest score possible on first impression. Mickey Melchiondo says, it's a guilty pleasure. I'll give it a 3 for a total of 2 points.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's going to make a great Chevy commercial, as I realized right at the end.
Sounds like if a bunch of aliens got like a transmission of like a 60s radio station and duped it up, that's what you'd get here.
In that case,
It's a little too little too what's
Bogus.
the word? Bogus. Yeah. Yeah.
the aliens in question are from Scotland. I guess
they?
some aliens here. A group called Belle and Sebastian. This is a new song called Legal Man.
That's them?
Yeah.
Man, I've never heard them. I've been looking forward to hearing them.
Well, now you've
There
heard
you
them. You
go,
gave
man.
them a 1. This
Sure, they'll
60s
be really
pop
happy.
sound is one of their trademarks mixed in with folk rock, and they've been called too precious at times. Do you think is that one of your objections here?
Oh,
You know,
I don't know.
it's hard to be critical about music like that because it's just so obvious, you know? It's like,
What about the whole trend now? I mean, there's a lot of music now that harkens back to the 60s and 70s. Is it
Yeah, but-
derivative or is it ironic? What do you think the position is of the people who are making it?
Well, LOVE, love, it's coming back. I don't really know what that.
I mean, we you know, whatever. We sound kind of...
You
it's
asked
hard. It's
during the
tough.
song, is this new or was it actually from the 60s? How would that have
Right.
changed your vote, Aaron? And what if it was from the 60s? Would you have given it a higher vote than 1?
Yeah, probably.
Why?
It's just a little, like, because it doesn't sound like they wrote a song. You know what I mean? It sounds like, let's write something that sounds like it's from the 60s. You know what I mean? It's really obvious. A little too obvious.
Is it possible to separate in your mind all the cultural kitsch and baggage that goes along with that sound from the sound itself at this point? I mean, Austin Powers is a good example of
Yeah.
rolling all that cultural kitsch into a ball and presenting it, reprocessing it for the 90s or the new millennium.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah. I think it's just, you know, it's fun, but it's just, it's like I said, it's too smart and it's too... under the microscope, you know, this sound under the microscope.
Too contrived, you mean?
Yeah, too
Yeah.
contrived, exactly. And we are going to reproduce this sound, every single tone, you know.
Also, this is the year 2000. I don't think there's kind of no room for that right now or something, you know.
Yeah.
What is there room for?
I don't know. It seems like there should be some. It's for all the hype in the media or whatever. That I think that I got caught up in the year 2000 thing. I'm definitely excited. It's a new, new time, new beginning, and all that. And there's been so much, especially growing up in like the 70s and 80s, like we did. There was so much that the whole 60s nostalgia thing kind of always annoyed me a little bit, and it annoys me now to see people to go back to it, especially because it's another decade has passed. Now we're into 2000.
Right.
It's a whole new time.
You mean because
It's so 1992.
because the nostalgia happens?
Yeah,
too
exactly.
quickly now.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm
It's
trying
so
to say.
93.
It's so
Pace of our
1988.
life.
Yeah, totally. I can't wait. It's already happened, but people are starting to do the 80s retro thing, and eventually it'll be.
The 80s
Having lived through all this time, I
Right.
know that it stunk.
The
So.
80s retro thing is very 1998.
It's so half an hour
right,
ago.
Right, exactly.
Well, let's move on from something that you think is too contrived to something that's very different.